I'm Adam Booth and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Now, there seems to be quite a bit of accusations flying around at the minute about Canelo Alvarez. Is he on the juice? Is he taking some PEDs? And this pretty much comes from, among many other people, of course, Tony Bellew has insinuated it and Anthony Fowler just blatantly called him it. Based on Canelo Alvarez's performance over Callum Smith this past weekend and the fact that he's a multiple weight world champion. Now, we could look at it from a number of ways. We could look at Anthony Fowler and Tony Bellew, both being from Liverpool. Callum Smith, also from Liverpool. Is there some home bias there? Maybe some excuse making? Maybe. But Tony Bellew, we know that he's on the WBC committee. In fact, he's the WBC committee chairman, I believe. So he will have some kind of access to any kind of testing that Canelo has been having. Okay, we do know that WBC, they are very biased with Canelo. They do let him get away with certain things, that's for sure. And they have almost given him a pass because he's Mexican, because there's a bit of a problem in Mexico with the beef. Okay, so we could certainly look at all that, but we're not going to delve too much into that one. But first and foremost, Canelo being a multiple weight world champion. Okay, he's done it pretty quickly. In fact, he's a super welterweight, middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight world champion. Okay, now it's not like he's gone from super welterweight directly up to light heavyweight, back down to middleweight, and darting here, there, and everywhere. In fact, the last time he was at super welterweight was before he fought Triple G the first time. Last time he was at middleweight was when he fought Daniel Jacobs. But lately, he's been going from super middleweight to light heavyweight. In fact, he's only had one fight light heavyweight, which is against Sergey Kovalev. So he's pretty much been consistent lately over like the last year or two at super middleweight. But does being a multiple weight world champion, does that make you a drug cheat? No. I mean, if it did, then we have to look at, say, the likes of Adrian Broner, Manny Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia, Vasyl Lomachenko, Floyd Mayweather, the list goes on. Okay, so we have to put everybody's feet to the same fire, if that's the case. Granted, Canelo, he hasn't missed a beat. He hasn't slowed down. He doesn't seem to be affected no matter what weight it is. Certainly, that's something to look at. As far as his performance over Callum Smith, I mean, nothing really happened in that fight that me and many other people didn't expect. One thing that did surprise me a little bit was the fact that Callum having the longer range, having like the longer reach, should be able to land the jab and keep Canelo away a bit more than what he did. Canelo, being a much shorter guy, was landing the jab at will. That's got nothing to do with PEDs. That's got to do with the defense of Callum Smith. The fact that every time Canelo come forward, Callum would back off. He would always give up ground each and every time. In fact, he spent most of that fight with his back against the ropes. Don't get me wrong, I think that Callum's tactics in that fight, he didn't do too much wrong. Because what you don't want to do when you're such a tall fighter going up against a much shorter fighter is fight on the inside. Because there's usually only really going to be one winner, isn't there? Yes, Callum as well, he did have a damaged bicep in that fight as well. But Callum, he kept on the outside, which is what he's supposed to do. But he was giving up the ground and he was getting beat to the jab and things like that. It's not like Callum was like really hurt in the fight. It's not like he got beat around from pillar to post. It's not like he hit the canvas. It's not like he got knocked out. Okay, so for me, I would think that Canelo is just a better all-round fighter than Callum Smith. Maybe Callum Smith is one of our typical Brits that can't seem to go to US soil and pull off a victory. Maybe he's just one of those kind of guys. Maybe it's the fact that he didn't have too much notice. Maybe it's the fact that he was rushed, and because Joe Gallagher, he does like a cheeky payday when it comes to some of these pound-for-pound fighters. Twice now with Canelo, and of course with Vasyl Lomachenko, and that others than that as well. But nothing really happened in that fight that really took me by surprise, other than the fact Canelo would just close the gap, and Callum would allow him to do it. Always have him on the back foot, being that Callum is the stronger fighter. The bigger guy, should we say. But outside of that, you can't really accuse somebody of being on PEDs. As I said, yes, Canelo, he does have a little bit of history with it. That's for sure. And I ain't giving him no damn excuses for it whatsoever. At the end of the day, you're a professional athlete. You are responsible for what goes in your body, correct? Let's not be using any Mexican tainted meat about that. But he does get favoritism when it comes to the WBC. There's a whole track record of receipts for that. But to accuse him of being on PEDs because he's a multiple weight world champion and his performance over Callum Smith, I don't really agree with it. I really don't agree with it. And if Tony Bellew is pretty convinced about it, he can do something about it, being that he is involved with the WBC. He can get his hands on some records if he wants to. If Canelo is getting some kind of use exemptions, well, let's hear about it. Okay, but anyway, that's what's going on. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all on the next video.